as a business owner, as a contractor, you need to automate certain aspects of your business. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it in 10 minutes, maybe less. This is using ServiceTitan integrated with GoHighLevel. If you haven't seen my previous videos on how to integrate ServiceTitan and Zapier into GoHighLevel just to automate and streamline the entire process, go check those out. Subscribe so you know when other videos are being posted. I've also put in the description below my link to give you a free trial for GoHighLevel so you can practice with this yourself. It won't cost you a dime. Get your automations, evolve or die. So let's get started. Okay, perfect. We're here in GoHighLevel. Now you're on the launch pad here. We're going to go down to automation. Okay, and this is going to pull up your workflows. So basically from here, we're going to create a workflow. In this case, we'll start from scratch. You can select from a template or you can, there's a couple different options there. So basically, just like in Zapier in my previous videos, you create a trigger and then you create actions. Okay, so what's the trigger that's going to add them to this workflow? Now, if you're integrating with Zapier using the ServiceTitan integration that I've talked about before, you really could select virtually anything. If you're using the Zapier integration, it's going to use that ServiceTitan or whatever the trigger is there for that Zap. That's pretty much what's going to dictate who gets into this workflow. The trigger really doesn't matter too much. Just put something in there and we're going to go ahead and add an action. Okay, so let's just say this is for a review request. Okay, so we're going to send a text. Okay, now you can select a template if you like. In this case, we can just say something simple. I like to use on a scale of 1 to 5, how was your experience? Because that makes it easier for subsequent messages, which I'll get into. But we'll say, hello there. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, how was your experience? How was your experience working with us? Okay, we'll save that. All right. So now as soon as they're added into this, they're going to get that message. Okay, what next? So now we'll wait. In this case, I like to use contact reply. So, and now what we're setting up here is, so we'll use a wait step. Okay, so we'll add wait, and then we'll wait for a reply. Okay, and then as soon as they reply, it will move past this step to the next one. So we'll add that. Wait. All right. Now we'll use the if else. So these are conditions. So conditional logic within this. So we're going to look at the replied message contains, let's say it contains 5, or it contains, let's see, contact reply, replied message, contains 5 or a 4. Okay, then we will save that. Okay, now we can see, we can see this where there's so they get this text, they wait, just until they reply. Once they reply, then it sends them down here to the conditional. Okay, so this is if they replied with a 5 or a 4, we're going to send them this direction. Now, if they replied with anything else, we're going to send them the other direction. Okay, now let's start with this. In this case, I'll probably say something like, we're glad to hear we're glad to hear you had such an amazing experience. If I send over a link to leave a quick Google review, would you be willing to share your feedback? There we go. Something simple as that. Now you can customize this however you like. Okay, I like getting them to say, "Oh yeah, I'll give you a review," before I just jam them with the link. Okay, it just seems spammy if I'm just going to send them the link. Anyways, so this is how you do it though. So you can do a text and an email if you like. You can just do an email if that's better. Then in this case, usually what I'll do if they give me a 3 or lower, I will usually say something like, "Oh, I'm sorry your experience wasn't the experience we prefer to give," or something along those lines. What could we have done to make it better? Okay, and depending on the feedback they give, I really do want to get that resolved with that customer. this is just the basics. I am going to be doing a future video where I go into depth on the specifics when it comes to like dates, when dates are involved on this. And I like to use those for my what I call drip campaigns. And that's essentially where you have somebody, you do a job for somebody, and they're automatically added to that. So you can market to them with future promotions, stay at top of mind. Okay, that's obviously the purpose of a drip campaign, which is for another video. But that's that. I'll get into those dates at another time. But these are the basics of workflows. There's a lot more to it, and stay tuned for more videos. Subscribe, please. You can check out all my other videos, and you'll be notified whenever I post a video. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit save up here in the top corner, and it'll automatically be saved here, and you can hit that little button here and it'll publish. So thanks so much for watching. Catch you next time.